At some point, I was just laughing and having fun, and at some point, I saw you with your hands in your hair, and just thinking like, "Oh my god!" And
I still had hair, though.
I'm just thinking about everything about my whole life. You were going through it. Welcome back at Understanding Experience. I am Felicia.
And I am Max.
And at Understanding Experience, we aim to really look at the two sides of existence, the understanding part and the experience part. Because we believe that if you look at both of them at the same time, that's the only way to truly understand existence.
That's right. So today we're going to talk about psychedelics and our journey with psychedelics. So we're going to start at our first experiences and then just walk you through it and walk you through all the wisdom that we gained over these years of using psychedelics.
A few of them, because that's a lot.
Yeah, I think a few, yeah. Not everyone. Maybe the most influential ones. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Should I start? Because I was the first person who did psychedelics.
Yeah, just to start with your first experience and let's move from there.
Okay. Well, first off, we want to say that psychedelics are something to be taken seriously because
Definitely.
It's not nothing and it's really hard work, and you do really need to make sure that if you do it with the right people in the right circumstances, with the right mindset, because otherwise things can go wrong.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that disclaimer out there just to be sure.
Do your own research.
Exactly.
Know what you put in your body. We don't condone anyone taking them because they're like... They can be extremely difficult, and people can go nuts, and you need someone with it that has previous experience. And
exactly. Yeah. Okay. So my first experience. Well, my first experience wasn't that great. It was with two people who did it for the first time as well, and one person that was sober, but that person was kind of awkward and didn't really know how to handle it. And that person have never done psychedelics themselves. So, the circumstances could have been better.
What did you take? That's very important.
Magic Truffles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know what dosage?
I think just the lightest one with 15 grams or 10 grams. I don't know what the recommended dosage is. But in the Netherlands, Magic Truffles are legal as well. So
legal?
Yeah, yes. You can just buy them in the store.
Yeah, we have smart shops here.
Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest experience. I didn't have a bad time or a really good time. It was just quite neutral. For the first time I saw when I moved my hand that there was this whole tracer behind it, and I started laughing, and it was so weird to experience that for the first time. But I felt like I was more so taking care of the people I did it with, because those two needed more support and more help. Yeah. And the second time I did it, it was also kind of in the same way and just experiencing the psychedelic experience. But the third time was with you, and that was the first time I actually used the psychedelics in the way that you could use them, instead of just exploring it and just having fun with it.
Yeah. So not take it recreationally, but in a more therapeutic, self-reflective kind of way.
Exactly, yeah. Because when I did it with you, you started going all in. At some point I was just laughing and having fun, and at some point I saw you with your hands in your hair and just thinking like, oh my god. And
I still had hair, though.
Yeah, and I remember asking you whether you were okay. I'm just thinking about everything about my whole life. You were going through it. And that helped me to really think about stuff as well, because you were just going and going. So maybe you would like to elaborate on your first experience, because maybe that's a little bit more interesting than mine.
Yeah, so my first experience also with Magic Truffles, I've always been a very reflective person, and like the tendency that psychedelic has is that it just amplifies your natural behavior.
Yeah.
I might have subconsciously set the intention to learn more about myself and the world, because that's what I always try to do. So, and I had all these questions pop up. Who am I? What is this place? Why am I here? All these
Am I a good
existential,
person?
and that was so you're spoiling it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kind of.
I'm sorry.
But
But it was a question that came up as well, right?
well, I had all these questions, and they were floating inside my head and all around me, and eventually, when I was reflecting and reflecting and reflecting, and eventually all those questions came together in the realization that I was a good person. Yeah. So I was worrying a lot about a lot. And basically the psychedelics told me that I don't need to worry about that, because deep inside, deep down, I am the force of good. And I shouldn't worry about all these things that were spinning around in my head. So in a nutshell, that's the experience. But yeah, I fucking cried.
You went through it. Yeah.
And I don't know if you see it, but I have a painting right there that I was tripping balls off. I'll show it to you guys.
Yeah, so when we were doing the psychedelic experience, we had this painting just on the chair.
A nice background here. It's of a cow. If somebody is, we don't know who painted it.
It just fell down the building someday, and he just grabbed it. Yeah. But we were just staring at this beautiful painting, and all the colors were just amplified and really like almost neon colors.
Doesn't seem very special if you look at it like this, but
yeah. And it all started moving, and yeah, I don't know, it was just beautiful to watch. It was beautiful to look at and experience the movement in a still painting.
Yeah, definitely was something special. So I was just staring into the painting, and I was fucking crying and just just feeling love. I think eventually that was the actual, because I'm like explaining it in an analytical way, but I think I felt love for one of the first times I really let love hit me
Towards yourself, because it was that I am a good person. For the first time you recognized yourself, definitely. That you were actually a good person and you were doing the best you could.
Oh man. Realization right here. I got goosebumps. So definitely was the first time I experienced love to myself. Damn, because that's like
ongoing process.
Still. I'm getting better, but
you're growing and you're learning. But that was the first time you actually recognized yourself.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it was also the first time we actually started kind of thinking about words and the meaning behind them. Because I can remember you had this whiteboard in your old room where you just wrote down sentences and things of beautiful moments, funny moments, whatever. Yeah. And we wrote down the Dutch word for real and for knowledge, for science, or whatever it may be. Because we started to understand the meaning behind those words. What is real? What really is real? You know?
Yeah.
And for the first time, we both felt so authentic and so real that we, for the first time, actually understood what that word actually meant.
Yeah, we felt it.
We felt it. Yeah. And that's a difference between thinking something, believing something, and knowing something.
Yeah.
when you know something, it's in your body. You can feel it with every cell of your being. And when you think something or you believe in something, then it's still outside. You're not really sure. It's not in your body. You cannot feel it.
It's not embodied.
Yeah, it's not embodied.
Yeah.
And in that moment, we truly embodied
Yeah.
those words of knowledge and realness and stuff like that. So it was a really beautiful experience too.
Yeah. In Dutch, we call it echt.
Echt.
And and in English, it's real.
Yeah.
So it's truth.
Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was also for me the first time that I actually opened up to you, because that was also really amplified for me, where I just, like, up until that point we had a good time and we talked and stuff like that, but from that moment on I can also remember you said that we felt closer because we truly opened ourselves up and showed our authenticity to each other. Now that's a bigger problem for me than for you. But yeah, that was really, for the relationship, also a really big step.
Yeah, we shared that intimate, deep moment together, and that made us closer. It was a big step in us getting closer. Yeah. Because before that, it was a lot of surface pleasantries, and at that time we shared something bigger, and I think that was the moment we set the trajectory of where we are right now. Yeah.
So that was the first time for you.
Yeah.
Third time for me.
Yeah.
And after that, I think we started going into LSD more.
Yeah.
Because at first we did Magic Truffles, and then we moved on to LSD, and we actually just up until recently only did LSD after that.
We never looked back until recently.
Until recently. Yeah.
Maybe we can talk a bit about the difference, because like when someone I'm imagining that if someone never has done psychedelics before, it's like all these fucking words and I don't know, and also psychedelics is like an umbrella term of everything that's psychoactive. So all these different effects, or okay, let's start with the difference between LSD and truffles. So truffles is the working substance in magic truffles is psilocybin, and you can also find that in magic mushrooms. And the LSD working substance comes from a fungus that was found on grain, and Albert Hofmann isolated the psychoactive part and accidentally got some of it on his fingers, and he went on a magical bike ride that everybody knows. And the working length of LSD is like 12 hours, 6 to 12 hours, or 8 to 12 hours. And magic truffles or psilocybin is like 6 hours. Yeah. So yeah, that's the basic information.
And for the experience, the difference between that, for me, magic truffles really, like the first time I did it, I already came up with this image of what it felt like, and it felt like playing cards, and then you have the heart cards, like the Queen of Hearts or whatever.
Yeah.
Magic truffles kind of felt like the heart cards.
Like the warm, fuzzy...
Yeah, more roundedness and more warm and stuff like that. And LSD feels more mechanical, more...
Yeah. Pointy.
Yeah, and the visuals are a little bit more...
Square.
Straight lines, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it's kind of different. You can feel that it's a different compound.
Yeah.
But you do have the same experience where you really just go into your own feelings and thoughts and body and the oneness of it all.
Yeah.
You can experience it with both.
Yeah.
But I feel like the feeling and the visuals are slightly different.
Some people also describe LSD as more chemical, and psilocybin more like it came from the earth.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Yeah.
And that's also when we did Magic Truffles last time, we I also did ayahuasca 1.5 years ago. And when we did Magic Truffles for the first time again, it felt like there was a spirit attached to the truffle, as if there was this consciousness attached to the medicine. Just like I experienced with ayahuasca, where I really felt and was able to communicate with Mama Aya.
Yeah.
It also felt like that in the truffle experience, more so than with LSD.
Yeah.
With LSD, it feels like you're just open to everything.
Yeah.
And with truffles, it felt like there was this consciousness guiding me through it all and just throwing me into whatever I needed to heal and go through.
Yeah. So with ayahuasca and Magic Truffles, it's more like a spirit is attached to it.
Yeah. It's also really important to set an intention. And with an intention, a lot of people think about, this is what I want to experience, this is what I want to experience. But what I mean by intention is, what are the qualities of the thing that you want, that you'd like to experience?
Yeah.
So don't set a goal, but set feelings that you want to experience. Would you like to experience freedom? Would you like to experience liberation? Would you like to experience love? And with all the psychedelics, you are able to set the intention, and you will most probably get what you want. Like, I've never actually had a case where I didn't get what I needed.
Yeah.
Sometimes I didn't get what I wanted, but I did get what I needed.
Yeah. We always write down like a few intentions and like maybe 6 or 8 things we would like to get out of this trip. And then we look back when we've had the trip and I thought, okay, check. And it's like 90% of the time. It's like...
Yeah, and sometimes even for me, I'm not able to really set the intention. Like, I don't really know how to put it into words. Yet I still get exactly what I wanted or what I needed. So I feel like you really are able to set intentions with both. But it's really important to not hold on to it and to like it's perfect for a guiding line, but also set yourself open for whatever the psychedelic medicine wants to give you.
Yeah.
Because if you try to hold on to, no, but I wanted to move through this and experience this, then you're gonna miss the real juiciness. Like for me, for example, the last time I did LSD, I didn't have the intention to go into sexual healing, but I was forced there because of some reason. My thoughts just kept going to sexual trauma stuff, and if you are fighting it during a psychedelic experience, then you're gonna have a really bad time. You're gonna have a really tough time.
One word to remember when on psychedelics is always to surrender. Surrender. If you're not surrendering, then you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man.
Like we said in the psychedelic experience we had together, we just kept repeating, just let go, let go, let go. Go deeper. Yeah.
That takes courage.
That takes a lot of courage. Yeah. And also the detachment from the thing that you thought you needed. Because if I would hold on to that, then I wouldn't have gone into the sexual healing. I would have fought it because I don't want to deal with that right now. Yeah. And I would have had a really bad experience. But in that moment, I decided to just go for it and to explore this part. And I said to the person that was trip sitting me, I was just shaking my head and laughing for, no, I didn't want this, man. It's coming. And then she started asking me a little bit more questions to go into it. And from that moment on, for the past months, I've just been diving deep into sexual healing because that's what was needed.
Yeah.
But that's not what I thought I needed in that moment.
I feel like they magnify your subconscious struggles. And also, if you look at the way psychedelics work on the brain, is that they suppress your thinking mind. So they really let you go into the part of you that is feeling more than thinking. And if you're struggling with something subconsciously, normally your thinking brain suppresses it. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to deal with this right now. I don't have time. And those patterns, they get subconscious if they repeat often enough. And eventually you just won't deal with it. Mm-hmm. And when your feelings get magnified when using psychedelics, some things will move up the ladder.
I think that's part of it, but I don't really think that was necessarily the case with my experience, because the intention that I set was show me what is still holding me back from my highest truth, from my highest alignment. And clearly it was sexual trauma that was still holding me back. But I can remember that I tried to focus on my job that I have right now to pay everything. In the beginning, I was just trying to go deeper and deeper and deeper into that and ask, why am I still in this? What is still holding me back to move on from this? Why can't I let go of this? And I just didn't get an answer. And eventually I went to the sexual healing part, and I realized how much feeling I've been kind of shutting off.
Yeah.
And now later in the process, I'm realizing that me not feeling everything is the thing that is holding me back from my work, like why I'm still in that.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, with my psychedelic experience, I realized that feeling things really deeply and being in your sensuality, like sensuality and sexuality are two different things.
Yeah.
And sensuality is just being in your senses and really experiencing it with your whole body. That is also seen as sexual. And that is something that's put onto us since we are really, really young, especially little girls. When we experience things really intensely and we are really in our body, we're licking ice cream and we're just really enjoying it, then the adult mind immediately puts sexuality into it.
Yeah.
And
it sexualizes that kind of behavior.
Exactly.
Being in the moment, enjoying every last fucking bit of that delicious ice cream.
Exactly. Yeah. And I saw all these patterns where exactly that happened to me and to the collective of young little girls.
Yeah.
And to kind of make sure I wouldn't be sexualized at such a young age, because I wasn't comfortable with that.
Oh, damn.
I shut off those feelings and experiencing everything really intensely, because I'm hypersensitive.
Yeah.
And all these things were being sexualized. And I didn't like that, so I shut it off. And that kind of rippled through everything in my life. Damn. Where I don't feel as deeply, and I'm having a hard time to really show someone that I'm in my body and that I'm in my sensuality. And that is also how that ripples through to my job right now, is also all the pain and the frustration and the anger and everything that comes up around my job are also emotions that I'm not letting move through me all the way, because I've learned to shut off a part of my emotions, not just the pleasant things, but also the not so pleasant emotions.
I would imagine that if you are programmed not to show all those sensual happy things, that it wouldn't automatically translate into those negative emotions. What do you feel like is another cause of that negative emotions not being able to move through you?
Well, it has different, like there are a lot of factors.
Yeah.
Like it's not only that, it's also that I always felt like I needed to be perfect. I needed to, in order to get love, in order to be good enough. And every time I would feel frustration or anger or wasn't able to do something, or I was just in my heavy emotions, I would feel like I wasn't perfect anymore. So I didn't show them to people. And also I felt like people didn't really understand me when I went through these things. And that's also something that really comes back around my work, because maybe the most people who are watching this even think, well, it's part of life. You just need to work. It's part of it. That's how it works. But
just
for
gotta
me,
push through.
Exactly. But for me, it's my own personal hell. It literally just drains me so much, and I feel like my soul is getting crushed. But people don't really understand that, because they feel like it's normal, and they don't let themselves go to that point. So if I go to that point and I share that with someone else, I feel misunderstood. And I feel like I kind of need to dim the intensity of the negative emotions to be accepted by the other person, because the other person might think that I'm over exaggerating or whatever it may be. So those and even a lot more reasons are part of why I'm having a hard time letting it move through me.
So there has been all these different factors that all contributed to the fact that you are having trouble with experiencing and letting emotions run through you, because they weren't accepted when you were younger, or they were sexualized by the collective, or all those different things. And right now you're breaking through it. And so tell me about that. How are you breaking through it?
How am I breaking through it?
Yeah. So how are you getting back in touch with your sensual side?
Well, this one quote really, really helped me. And there was this man that said, allow yourself to be fully taken in. Allow yourself to be fully seen. And that quote really helped me a lot, because then you keep it to yourself. Like, I am allowing myself to be seen by that person or by everyone, you know? It feels good to be seen. It feels good to be taken in by other people in a safe space with love. That's what we all want. We all just want to be accepted and held by other people and seen and heard. And when I say to myself the quote, allow yourself to be fully seen, allow yourself to be fully taken in, then it just kind of lifts this weight off my shoulders of that I need to protect myself in a way. It's my own choice in that moment that I allow myself to be seen. It's a conscious choice, because subconsciously I'm still kind of shielding myself. And every time someone gets really close, where my own judgments and my own insecurities and my own everything arises, I put up this wall. But if I'm aware of that and I say to myself, allow yourself to be fully seen, then I can soften those walls and open myself up to that person.
Is that not a practice to make subconscious wall putting conscious?
Yeah.
I think if you summarize it, previously your default response was just to put up a wall. And that sentence, that quote, helps you to realize, oh wait, it's safe.
Yeah, and it's in my own power. Because I'm the one in control. When I say allow yourself to be fully seen, I'm allowing myself to be fully seen. So with that, it creates safety instantly, because I'm in control. And I'm not giving my power away to someone else.
What is it specifically about being in control in that sense that is comforting? Or
because it's scary.
Yeah,
it's like maybe not for you, because you've always done it. Like you've always shown yourself authentically.
Yeah.
But for me, it's only been a thing for the past 2 years, where I've been really working on showing myself authentically.
Yeah.
And it's scary because I've had a lot of moments, because it didn't happen for no reason why I put up all these walls. So I have a lot of moments where I wasn't received in the way that I needed, or people weren't able to show up for me in the way that I needed, or I felt judged, or I felt ashamed by other people, or whatever it may be. So if I just let go of control and I don't have any control over the people that are seeing me, then that's extremely scary and can be really hard to soften into, because you're not sure whether those people can receive you because they didn't in the past. And eventually that's something where you want to work towards, where you're able to just be yourself with everyone. It doesn't matter where you are, with who you are, but to make it a change, to really shift that energy and to start opening yourself up. The quote, allow yourself to be really seen and having the control yourself, really helps, because then you can choose who sees you, and you can broaden that. Once you've shared it with the people close to you, you can grow that and grow that.
It kind of builds in some safety in the way you choose who sees you, instead of just defaulting in being authentic all the time. It just kind of dips your toe in the water, in being authentic, and just letting yourself slowly build up the confidence to do that more and more often. It kind of makes it gradual instead of
it doesn't have to
an
be
instant switch.
So, like, you can also do that with everyone. Like, for me, it was, that quote really helped me so much that I was able to also implement that into my social media, where I just felt like I'm just gonna, like, I never shot a video just with me talking on my Instagram. Yet after I heard that quote, I did, because I felt like I'm just gonna allow myself to be seen by everyone, because that's what I want. I want to be seen by everyone. I want, like, that's what I deeply crave. So why not share it with the world? Why not share it with people I don't feel comfortable with? Because now it feels empowering to have that control, to really make the choice for yourself, to open yourself up to the world.
I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, why it suddenly changed with that quote. Like, if you're now just deciding, okay, I'm ready to let myself be seen.
Yeah, but then you kind of say the same thing.
But like, it's a manifestation of the fact that you're ready, right? It's not really like that quote was a way for you to make the step in, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. What
made me ready?
Made you ready to?
Yeah, what made me ready? Oh, what made me ready? That's everything, like my whole life.
What made you feel safe to maybe not disregard the previous judgments, but like what made you look past those?
Self-confidence, self-love. That's the most important thing, because after my ayahuasca experience, I was a totally different person. I just switched, and I was able to let go of so much drama and chatter in my mind. And from that moment on, I feel like I was able to, without even trying, show myself more to other people, because I was more confident in who I was and where I stand. But I think in the past years, I've just built up the perspective where I realized that anything anyone says is just about them. It's not about you. It's not, like, don't take it personal. And that's something that an insight I got like a couple of years ago, but it has been really integrated right now, where I just feel really deeply in my body that it doesn't matter what people say or think or whatever. It's either programming or it's about themselves.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with me.
Okay, this is like a key point here, because the reason that you put up these walls subconsciously is because of judgment, is because of other people projecting their own stuff on top of you. And as a child, you don't know that it's not because you think it's about yourself. And when you evolve and you work through your own insecurities and work through your own judgments, in my journey, I worked through a lot of judgments. When we met, I judged people who were fat. I judged people who were homeless. Those were things that
totally switched, by the way.
That totally switched.
Full 180.
Full 180.
Took some time, but
but you learned. You showed me that a lot of these people who are struggling with being overweight or obese, or that there's always something behind it. And the fact that I am not fat is just because I lived certain different circumstances. And the story behind you don't know the story, so why could you judge? It's just, I judged because I would judge myself if I got fat.
Exactly.
And that's just my own value that I put on being skinny.
Yeah.
So,
and where that comes from is programming, because that comes from the belief that when you're not skinny, you're either not beautiful or you're unhealthy and all those things.
Well, fat is bad. That's like the general thing that's been put on you.
Exactly. So if you even look at that, because that was also a major insight like a year or 2 years ago, where I deeply realized that even the judgments people have towards themselves aren't judgments of themselves. Those are judgments of other people that they put on to them. So it's an infinite cycle where everyone projects their own judgments and insecurities onto others, which create judgments and insecurity into them, and they put it onto others.
Through, and it's giving through on generation on generation.
Exactly.
On generation.
Even though it's no one's. When you really go to the core, everyone is just love. Everything is love.
Yeah.
But all the projections and all the stories we make up around it is just an illusion. Nothing about that is real. It's all programming that other people put onto other people because they have been put it on them. Huh?
Not a great sentence structure, but that's okay.
People get it, yeah.
It's also that people use judgments to feel better about themselves. So it's like a subconscious process that if I'm not fat, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
And
that's why people bully.
Yeah. It kind of artificially heightens your self-esteem. It's like a fucked up
Even
way
though it
to
doesn't do that, but you feel in that moment as if it does, but it doesn't.
A little high or something. It's weird. Okay, so circling back to what we were talking about, you work through your judgments, and one of the key aspects of you being ready for the world to see you is because you realize that judgments aren't a reflection of you, but are a reflection of people's own insecurities and stories and generational baggage and media programming and stuff. So that quote unlocked it was the last bit that you needed to put it into practice.
Yeah. And also, like, don't take anything personally. That was one of the big ones. But also, something I found out recently is, like, along the years, I've connected with Unconditional Love a couple of times. And every single time, I've been crying. Like, really badly.
Fucking, if you feel unconditional love, man, that
goes deep.
That opens up the water wells.
Exactly. So I've connected with that a couple of times, yet I still get disconnected each time.
Yeah.
And recently I realized that why I get, like, if I haven't connected with the unconditional loving energy that's everywhere for a longer period of time, I actually get scared to connect with it again. And recently I realized that's because I still have a really, really bad perspective on what love actually is and what it feels like.
Okay.
And that comes from my own perspective on love, on how I treat myself and how I tell myself, or what I tell myself that is love. So I am quite harsh on myself still, and I call it tough love in my head. Even though, like, it's way better than where it came from. Like, don't get me wrong. But it's still that I feel like I should always do better. And I get impatient with myself because I feel like I should have already been able to do that, or I've already moved through it or healed that, or whatever it may be. But that's not love. Love is very, very patient. And love is gentle. Love is soft. Love is warm. And I forget that every time. And because I forget that, I also feel I'm scared of other people, because I believe that's what love is. So even if I let myself be seen by other people, I still am scared subconsciously that I won't get what I need, because it will be harsh. It will be tough love, because that's the way that I see love, how I treat myself.
Can you give an example of that tough love? Because I know about tough love, but I'm wondering how that plays out in your head or in yourself. You talked about frustration. You talked about not being patient. Is that because you have a certain image of yourself that you are not living up to yet? Or is that because you know what's wrong and not have been able to integrate it properly? Or
all of the above?
Yeah, I know you very well.
Yeah.
So, but
it's the frustration comes from different things, and it's just my mind gets something really quickly and understands it and wants to move on from there.
Yeah.
But my body sometimes still needs some time to catch up.
Yeah.
So that's where I get frustrated, where I know something so deeply and I want to experience something, do something, move on from there. Yet I still feel like I'm held back by parts of me that I still need to release, that are still in my body. So that's where a lot of frustration comes from. And also the tough love is, for example, once again, my work, that because there's this whole story around that love or work is something that we just have to do. For me, it's really easy to fall into that same trap where I'm feeling really, really terrible and I feel like I'm literally crying or whatever it may be, and I tell myself, not in the same way, but I tell myself, just suck it up. It's work, you gotta do it, you gotta make money, you gotta pay your rent. It's part of life, just suck it up. And I try to make all these ways for myself to be able to deal with that thing instead of just feeling it. Because I feel like
okay,
it won't be fully accepted in a way.
Okay, so you feel that love works like that?
Yeah, that it
Because you were talking about tough love and you...
yeah, where I just tell myself, just suck it up and go with it. That's the tough love part I was talking about. And it's about all different kinds of things where I understand something. Or for example, yesterday we had a moment where I also got triggered, and that's because I just started to get frustrated with the fact that I'm not able to express myself fully.
Yeah.
And even if I do express myself, I can feel myself holding back and not fully expressing myself.
And that's frustrating.
And that's frustrating because I'm aware of it. But I am scared because I have such a bad perspective on what love actually is and how it feels. Because if I'm connected with unconditional love, then I'm able to soften into it. But I'm not. So I'm holding up these barriers. That's why also it's easier for me with psychedelics to let myself go and to really go into my own shadows and darkness, because
it suppresses the thinking mind.
Yeah, and I'm connected with love.
Yeah.
I can feel the unconditional love every time. I can feel it in my body.
And you tell yourself the story that when you're when you moved away from that unconditional love again, you tell yourself the story that tough love is love.
Yeah, that judgment is love, that being that tough love, and just not the softness and the warmth.
Yeah, okay.
For me it feels kind of cold, and as if I almost, like, if I really tap into the feeling I get sometimes when I really get disconnected, I feel like crying, because it just feels as if I'm not doing enough, as if I'm not good enough, as if I need to be better. But that comes back again to the perfectionism, where I felt like I needed to be perfect in order to receive love. So that's still, that's my perspective when I get disconnected from love, that I need to prove myself in order to receive it.
That's very relatable. I always felt like that me depriving myself of love is the way to actually get something done. While it's totally the different way around, because if I am depriving myself of love, I am giving from an empty cup. And that concept, I don't know if people know what that's about, but if you have energy left when after you give it to yourself and others, you are giving from a full cup. If the energy is overflowing and you have too much, you automatically try to give it away.
It's kind of like this beautiful metaphor came up when I was in the shower, is a lot of people have put their hands in a cup and just let it fill with water. Now imagine that in your hands you have all these split fingers.
Yeah, all these holes.
All these holes, and those are just wounds and parts of you that are still fighting the love, let's say, that are still protecting you. Then the water is the overflowing love that's in every moment and every second, and that's always here and present. And it can flow as much as it wants, but if you have these holes that you are still letting all the love just slip through, then your cup will never fill, your hands will never fill. But if you start to close them off, then your cup will fill, and eventually it will overflow, because your cup is just too small to hold the immense amount of love that's in every second and every moment.
Yeah.
So you're gonna overflow, just like water held in your hands.
Yeah.
So just to give a little bit of a view or perspective on what you said.
Yeah. Yeah, so the way I thought this worked before I was conscious of the fact that you need a full cup to give is when I was at uni and I I needed to motivate myself to get off my ass and learn for exams and stuff, I always used stress and doom scenarios to, like, if I don't do this, I'll don't graduate and I will have huge student loans and stuff. And that was my mechanism to do stuff. And that was from an unhealthy place. And right now I'm working on thinking about myself and actually, how should I describe it?
You try to switch it to having love be the force from where you take action.
Yeah, not fear.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So first I was using my survival mechanism to get off my ass, and that's like from an empty cup, right? That's because you have such an empty cup, you switch into survival mode. And right now, if I fill my cup by doing things I love and by telling myself that I am good and what I do is good and
you're badass,
that I'm a fucking badass, then I'm proud of myself and I can do way more from that place than when I use my survival.
Yeah. And for the people who aren't convinced yet, like, fear is a really strong force. Like, it's a really strong force. But love, have you ever seen a mother fighting for their children?
Oh,
you know,
man.
like
She can lift a fucking car.
She can lift a car. Like, fear can paralyze you, and love only opens you up. And love wants to be shared, and it wants to, like, penetrate other people with their love.
Yeah.
So the force you get from love is way stronger than fear, even though in the beginning it might not feel like that. Yeah. And that's where you struggled.
Think about when you have been in survival for a certain amount of time, you get exhausted. And that's the big difference from moving and learning and living from love, is that it's sustainable. That's the big difference. And always when I was using my my survival mechanisms to get off my ass and do stuff, when my exam was over, I was like in bed for a month because I was recovering. And that's because all that's left in that little cup was gone.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's also where I believe, like, burnout and stuff like that comes from, and depression and anxiety, and all those things come from a lack of love.
Yeah.
Because people just shut themselves off because it doesn't feel safe, because they've experienced love through a really foggy way. Like, it's all twisted. It's not really true love anymore. And that's their perspective of love. So they try to protect themselves from love, which causes them to do things that are out of fear or that aren't in alignment with what they actually want, what actually fulfills them, what actually fills their heart. And that's when they get depressed. And that's when they get burned out, because they've given all their energy away to something, and they're not having an input of getting at their own energy. It's only giving. But where do they get their energy?
Yeah.
And
every time they have a little, they give it away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're learning right now to really tap into the unconditional love that's everywhere, and to use that as your force to make movement, and to put it directed on yourself.
Yeah.
What is the most noticeable difference you've noticed when you take action from a place of love or take action from a place of fear?
The recovery period. There is no recovery period when you're acting from love. My biggest fear, what kept me in survival, that kept me convinced that was the way to go, was that I was fearful of losing my drive when I was not in survival. So I noticed that I had a motivation. The only way I could get motivation was by getting into survival mode, and I was fearful of losing that force and that energy and that movement when I would give myself love.
Yeah.
Because then always when I gave myself love, I backed down and I laid in bed and I needed to rest. That was love for me.
Yeah.
So when I gave myself love and I was resting, I thought love equaled no movement.
Yeah. And why has it always been so important for you to have that movement, to have the drive to take action?
That's because I'm here to do big things. And I always felt that I had the job here to do big things, and I was always a big dreamer. And that the fearful process of survival was the only way I could get forward movement.
Yeah. Even though you didn't know it yet. Like in that moment, like you knew you were always meant for big things.
Yeah.
But just recently through a psychedelic experience, you really met your soul and you're really set with the feeling of I'm here for a reason. I have a mission.
Yeah.
And I need to follow that mission.
Yeah.
But for years, you weren't connected with that feeling. And you knew, like inside somewhere, you knew it. But I can remember that during that time, you also, when we tried to figure this all out, it was also connected with you feeling like you needed to prove yourself to your dad. Where you felt like you needed to always have that forward movement and do better because that's what your dad expected of you. And now,
well, that was not the case. I need to have a side note because my parents are very loving and they only want the best for me. And I have had a tremendous childhood. It was, I have such little trauma. I can only thank my parents for that, for the great fucking love they gave me. But whenever I was not feeling motivated or I didn't want to go with my dad, like chopping wood or some physical activity that I wasn't feeling it, I felt I disappointed my father. And that way I felt I needed to do stuff to prove that I'm not lazy.
Yeah, so to receive his love in a way. But now, like in your last experience, we realized why you had that kind of parenting, because it was also intertwined with your mission.
Can you elaborate?
Okay, you don't remember that?
No.
Okay. Because at first you thought that it had to do with your father and that you needed to that you felt this unconscious drive to prove yourself to him because you didn't want to be lazy and disappoint him. So that's the way that you were able to receive his love. But during your psychedelic experience, we realized that the true reason why you've always felt that drive was because of your mission, because you were here for a damn reason and you needed to fulfill that. And for you to get the tools to be able to fulfill that, you were grown up with parents who always pushed you further and made sure that you kept moving and you found a way to deal with certain things. And
well, I don't think my parents pushed me that hard. I believe that my father is a person that has a lot of movement and he knows how to break through fucking resistance. Mm-hmm. He's like he's always been the role model that just gets shit done. Mm-hmm. And I think that the reason that I chose my parents, if you believe in souls and stuff, is that in a way he is a really good role model for me because I have a lot of stuff to do too. And that to have such a person in my life from such a young age, also the entrepreneur, he's also an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
That is just, I learned so much.
Mm-hmm.
And that those were all the tools that I needed. Plus, for me to learn that love is the answer and not fear.
Yeah. Yeah, but with his forward movement, then that's like you're seeing that. So you're learning from that. And so you're implementing it to yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's how children learn.
Yeah.
And him, like he pushed you too. Like I can remember when you were laying in bed at 2 p.m. still, that he would call you up sometimes. And he would just say like, Max, you're still in bed. Go get up and do something. And then you felt this feeling of,
I can't.
yeah, this kind of friction.
I'm tired.
But those are moments where, and the most loving, like he meant, like it's all from a beautiful place and it's all from love, but where he pushed you in a like, go do something, because this is not why you are here. This is not why what you're meant to do. You're not meant to lay in your bed until 2 p.m.
Yeah.
You're meant to get up and do something.
Yeah.
And maybe it wasn't necessarily from the conscious thought of, oh, he's here for a mission, so I need to push him to go to his mission.
Yeah.
But it all intertwines with each other.
Yeah.
Why he is your father and why you grew up in the way that you did.
Yeah.
It all comes together because you just are here to follow your mission.
Yeah.
To spread love to the world.
And my mom,
And
she
your mom.
always gave me love. Yeah.
Yeah.
The warm energy.
Feminine energy.
Yeah.
Nourishment, softness, warmth.
Yeah. When I still had hair, the little just brushes through my hair and stuff. The physical comfort. Yeah. I'm blessed with my parents.
Yeah, to come back to that, because we were coming back to the psychedelic experience where you found out that you had a mission.
Yeah.
Maybe you can elaborate a bit more on that psychedelic experience and what it was, what you got out of it to come all full circle.
Yeah. So that was my last psychedelic trip. It was on psilocybin, and the dosage was pretty steep. So we took that. We were on a campsite, and it just hit a little too hard, and we stumbled in my camper van, and
I need to lay down.
I need to lay down because I'm going somewhere. So we stumbled into bed and just laid under the blankets, and I just felt a lot of pain and hurt. That was my first, and I didn't know where the pain came from. And I was digging, and I felt that it wasn't my pain. It was kind of the ancestral pain, I thought. And I was digging, and I showed courage to work through it.
Absolutely. Like he was a badass. He was just laying there and just telling,
give this shit.
Yeah, just come on, just give it to me. Just give it to me.
I can handle it. It's just fucking emotion. Yeah. Just give it to me.
And every time he would feel worse, he would say, yes, just give it. Yes.
I'll feel it. I don't care.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that suffering and pain, after I felt it, I met my soul, and I saw a huge God with a huge body and a little tiny head that was just fucking shoveling coal into a steam engine. And what that felt for me, it just noticed me of why I'm here. It noticed me. It showed me that I was here to do a lot of fucking work, and they sent someone to do the fucking work. they send a fucking badass to fucking move everything to just, and that was really weird for me, because I always thought about myself as being lazy and being it was a huge masculine presence, and I always thought of myself as a sensitive, fragile, feminine, full of emotion and unstableness,
chaos.
Definitely chaos. I have ADD, so my brain is like a lot of chaos. And for the first time I saw myself in a different light, and I saw that I was here to just do a lot of things.
Everything needed to have purpose. That's also what you found out. Like, if it doesn't have a purpose,
if it isn't useful,
it's not useful. You can't understand why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Then you're not going to do it, because it's a sidetrack from your mission.
Yeah.
Everything needs to
make sense.
Needs to make sense and needs to help you towards your mission.
Yeah.
Which is to spread love. To
spread understanding.
Yeah.
What my part is in understanding experience. So it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm here to just make a lot of conscious media productions, and like we know, like we've produced 2 videos now, and a huge amount of hours go into that, and a huge amount of effort and attention, and that's why I'm here, to focus on the production and the knowledge.
Yeah, to raise human consciousness.
Yeah. I was sent here.
And how have you been trying to integrate that in your life? Because it's quite an experience to meet your soul and to see yourself from this whole nother light, like literally this whole other perspective.
Yeah.
So how did you, or still are working to integrate that?
Well, at first it was very clear to me that like for a masculine to have clarity and to be able to move, I need to have a stable outer environment to have everything in order so I can focus on what's important. And I was living in a van I'm living right here now for like 2-3 weeks or something. And before this, I was living in chaos. And a way to integrate the masculine energy and to cater my life to it is to have a stable environment. And that's why I chose to live here. And it's been amazing. You see it right now. We have a podcast set up. I'm waking up early again. I'm getting into my routine. I'm having a plan. And that's the way I'm integrating it.
Gaining clarity.
And just...
And also about why you are here. Like recently you wrote down an exact vision of what it is that you want and why you are here, or the steps you need to take in order to succeed.
Yeah.
And that's all the masculine force where you came in contact with your psychedelic trip.
Yeah. And I also have the confidence I
that you're able to do it.
That I'm able to do it. Yeah. And I just needed to put some things into place to make the transition as smoothly as possible. So when you're living in a van, you have all this mental space that is reserved for where I'm gonna sleep tonight. I need to
fill my water.
I need to fill my water. I need to have electricity. Where I'm going to get electricity. You have one small little room that needs to contain all these different ideas, and it's like cramped, and you expansion is very difficult that way. And all this mental chatter that's going on of all the things that aren't useful, that was just fucking me in the ass. And right now I have everything taken care of, and I feel like I can move again. I feel like I can expand right now.
Yeah. If you can breathe again.
I can breathe again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first week I was here, all the stress and the uncertainty came up again, and I needed to feel that in order to get rid of it and have a clear mind again.
Yeah. And that's also when old patterns came up again, because I can remember you told me that you started to worry because of the fact you didn't have that forward movement yet.
Yeah.
Even though it was just a week that you were here. And I told you, like, it takes a while to adjust and to move into a new place.
I feel so stressed. I feel so stressed.
It's just, you need to rest. It just needs to move through you right now. We'll build up energy.
Why can't I move forward? Why don't I have 100,000 subscribers yet? It's been a goddamn week.
Be patient, man.
Yeah. Now I have everything together. Why am I not feeling okay?
Yeah. But you're getting there again.
Yeah.
You just sometimes
Definitely.
you just need to give yourself just a little bit of a break. Give yourself some time.
Yeah.
And then trust that you will move forward from there.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
I
Well,
think we've reached a conclusion, right? It's we didn't go across every psychedelic experience we've had. We have like 10 more life-changing acid trips that we
An
that
ayahuasca
were probably,
experience.
An ayahuasca experience that we're probably gonna discuss in a further podcast.
Yeah.
So keep a lookout for that one.
Mm.
Subscribe and comment.
Yeah.
And
if there are any other what's it called, topics, if there are any other topics that you'd like us to talk about or to discuss, or that you have more questions about, just let us know. Leave a comment below.
Yeah.
And we would love to talk about it and elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you for watching. This has been the Understanding Experience podcast, and we see you next time.
Bye-bye.